Welcome back to the OCS Optimized Career Solutions YouTube channel. It is the first week of December. How did that happen? I feel like we were just saying Happy New Year to 2023, and we're going to be saying that again for 2024, and I'm very, very excited. But if you are like most of us, this month you are staring down the barrel of your annual performance review. And if you are following us on our podcast, Career Advancement Academy podcast, which you can watch my husband Jack and I record these episodes here on YouTube at the Optimized Career Solutions YouTube channel. Definitely check them out. If not, check them out on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Definitely make sure to check them out because yesterday, our latest episode, we went over how to make sure that you are prepared for your annual review before, during, and after to make the most. Because if you are thinking about staying in your current company, this annual review can make or break your next year. And if you're not sure, if you're sitting on the fence and you're not sure if you're going to stay, well, this could be the conversation about whether or not you're ready to get your resume updated, your LinkedIn profile updated, and whether or not you're going to be starting a job search. So let's make sure that you are prepared. And before you have that conversation with your manager, which again, our episode of the Career Advancement Academy is going to help you prepare for that. Most likely, you're going to be doing a self-review, an annual self-review. And today, that's what we're going to be talking about in how to optimize your annual performance review. We're going to be going over some strategies for a self-performance review, how to make the most of it, because I don't know about you. It's not something we do every year or every month, every week. So it's not in our daily routine. You probably have a ton of projects, some deadlines looming, and of course the holidays. If you're feeling somewhat like most people, you're ready to check the heck out of here. And this is not something you want to do. But I'm going to tell you right now, if your career is important to you, and most likely if you're watching this video, it is, don't phone in this project. When it comes time for this and you're looking at your annual review and your boss is asking you, what did you do this year? And you're just coming up blank or like, oh, yeah, I did that one thing. You're going to be maybe disappointed in the raise that you're getting. If you're looking for a promotion, you want to make sure that you are prepared. So it's likely that your manager is going to ask you to conduct a self-evaluation as part of the performance review process. And it's an important tool in assessing performance. So, what projects are you proud of? Where did you make a noticeable difference? Make sure that you are prepared. So, one of the first things that I always ask everyone to review is their kudos folder, their attagirl, their attaboy, their I done did the damn thing folder, whatever you want to call it. And if you don't have one set up, well, this is your reminder to go set one up right now. This is probably my number one best tip for anyone in their career is having a kudos folder. Now, I call it a kudos folder because, hey, I like when people give me kudos. I like getting those compliments. I like when I achieve something and someone says, hey, good job. Don't you like that too? Of course. It feels great. I love when my boss, well, I don't have one right now. I am the boss, but I love giving kudos out to my team. And I tell them, hey, put this in a folder. Remind me when our annual performance comes up because listen, as the boss, I'm busy. I'm driving the business forward, and most likely your boss is driving your team forward, and they're not going to remember all the little things that you did. And most likely, if I'm being honest with you and you're being honest with yourself, if you're sitting here in the first week of December and you're thinking about what you did in January and February, most likely you're not going to remember everything too. But data is everything, right? Having everything written down is going to serve you very, very well in these important conversations because it's so much easier to justify more money when you have the results backing it up. Plus, the kudos folder is going to be so relevant for so many things in your career, right? Let's talk about a few things. One, the performance review. Hey, Every good thing that I've done, every compliment my boss has given me, my teammate has given me, a stakeholder has given me, the CEO has given me, I've thrown in this kudos folder. Now, a kudos folder, what I mean, it could be an actual hard paper kudos folder, right? Or it could be a digital folder like a shared drive, a folder in your email. I always recommend keeping it like on a personal, like Google Drive or Dropbox Drive, just in case something happens or you decide to leave. And I suggest you having one for your entire career. Why is this so important? Well, annual review is just 1 year of your life, right? In your career. However, that kudos folder, if you've done this year over year over year, and it's time to write your resume, well, guess what? That kudos folder is going to be your best friend for creating that resume, because of the fact that when you either hire a resume writer, boom, you have all that there, or you can start writing it for yourself. And now you have all of your shining achievements, not just shining achievements that you are really proud of, which you can absolutely add to that kudos folder, but the shining achievements that people have given you kudos for, people who have given you accolades and compliments for. That means that if someone thought it was really impressive at your company, most likely someone at another company is going to find it really impressive too, right? So that's going to be a really good tool for writing your resume should you decide to leave. Maybe if your annual performance doesn't go that great. I don't know, right? So the other reason why this kudos folder is going to be super, super important for you in your career and your life moving forward is, let's be honest, we all have shitty days, right? It's true. You've had a shitty day. I've had a shitty day. And what's going to make you feel better? Well, on those shitty days, right, you might be sitting there thinking, God, does anyone really like me? Do I bring any value here? Am I even valuable or worth it? And opening up that kudos folder of just accolades and compliments and kudos time and time again of you achieving all of these things, I got to tell you, that does a number for your mindset. It is great for when you are having a little pity party for yourself. Open up that folder and that pity party is shrunk down to a 2-minute funeral is what I like to call it. Give yourself a 2-minute funeral, get back on the horse and go achieve some more. So those are 3 of the main reasons why a kudos folder is going to serve you so well and save you time. Save you time. So when you're writing that resume, instead of spending hours and hours going, what did I even do 5 years ago in my career? Or for your performance review, when you're sitting there for hours and hours saying, I don't even know what I did earlier this year, you just open it up and you start copying and pasting it over. It's a huge time saver. And in the day-to-day, when someone sends you something good, it's only going to take you 30 seconds to copy and paste that into your folder. It's that important. I'm telling you, if you need a New Year's resolution, a kudos folder is going to be one for you. Now, other things to keep in mind for your performance review is going to be a numbers. Numbers talk, right? Quantifiable data. If you have saved your company money, that's a big thing. Have you driven sales, right? So aligning your achievements from your kudos folder with business goals and objectives. How have you not just met the team's goal, right? So you have your own goals that most likely were set by you and your boss, or your boss may have told you certain things to do. You're writing them down and you're saying, here's how I've met them. But how does your goals tie to the team's objectives, and even bigger, the company's objectives? So if the company's objectives were to hit a certain number in revenue or to save a certain amount in cost, how did you contribute to that, right? It's so much more powerful when you say to your boss, here's why I deserve a promotion. Here's why I deserve a raise, is because the company wanted to do this, and here's how I supported that. Here's how I met that goal. Here's how I did it with numbers, right? So that's going to be really important. And if your boss doesn't value that, if your company doesn't value that, I sure as hell can tell you another company is going to value that. So here are some self-assessment topics to prepare, and some tips for you to start thinking about when it comes to preparing this. Some questions to ask yourself. Did you boost sales? Did you streamline a process? Did you lead a successful project? If you did, quantify that anywhere possible. Did your initiatives drive customer satisfaction? Did you improve efficiency? Did you open up new markets? Weaving your accomplishments into the company's vision, into their goals, into their mission, make those connections clear. So for instance, if your company is a customer-oriented company where their mission says customers first, how did your projects affect the customers? How did they increase engagement? How did they drive customer satisfaction, right? All of those things really tie to the big picture, and they tie to why you should deserve whatever you're going to ask for, right? Another thing for you to start thinking about is, where did you struggle? More importantly, if you struggled, how did you adapt in that struggle, right? Adaptability, resiliency, those are huge emotional intelligence skills that are highly desirable for any team, any company. So not only where did you struggle, but how did you adapt? How did you demonstrate resilience? How did you grow? How did you tap into your resources? How did you work with your team, right? How also, another thing to think about is anticipating the future needs of your role or your team. Could you suggest training or resources that would benefit not just you, but your whole department? Did you help departments, people in your department or your team grow? Did you do cross training? Did you see a need and anticipate that need and help fulfill that, right? Here's another way for you to help get what you want out of your self-evaluation and your annual review is to review your job description. Review your job description and highlight your responsibilities in your self-assessment. How has your role evolved since being hired? Prepare the how and the why. This is how my role evolved, and this is why my role evolved. It evolved because I took on this. I had these struggles. Here's how I adapted my role based on the company's needs, right? Did you take on more leadership responsibility? Did you become the subject matter expert or the go-to problem solver in a certain area that's not even listed in your job description? These are important things to think about. When you go in to that annual review, that conversation, what I want you to keep in mind is that if you're going into that conversation in a combative defensive mode, you're going to set yourself up to be on the other side of the table of your boss. And no one really likes being immediately put on the defense. It's going to immediately put you kind of in an adversarial role. And so what I always recommend is try to get yourself onto a collaborative attitude and a collaborative mindset where your review is a chance to dialogue with your manager, not monologue at your manager. Using language like, what can we do to get us here, right? So what I mean by that is, here's what we have done. Here's what I have done in order for us to get us here, right? And now that I've displayed all of this, what can we do in order for us to get me into a role that is financially and equitably indicative of what I've been putting out for the team, right? So now when you say things like, what can we do to get me into this role where we can be at this stage, it's already putting us on the same team. It's not saying something like, I want this role, and what can you do to get me there, right? It's completely different language where instead one is like this and the other is, what can we do, right? So those are some good tips when it comes to using the language. And a good idea is, hey, bullet point out the main things that you want to talk about, the main things that really have driven the company and the team forward, and then write out how you want to phrase your ask. Now that we've gone over all of these accomplishments that I've been able to do in order for us to get the team to where we want it, what can we do in order for us to rename my role or to get the promotion that was promised and the compensation where we can make sure that I'm financially fulfilled at the level at which I'm performing, right? Using that we is going to really help you out to disarm your manager and make it more of a logical conversation. Hey, I've done all of this. What can we do to get me at that level where I'm performing, right? So as we wrap up, I want to also just give a tip about what happens when there's feedback. When there's feedback, there might be some things that, hey, you missed the mark on. But listen, I want to just take a moment and say, feedback is a gift. I know we've heard it all the time. Feedback is a gift. And if you're feeling like I used to in my 20s, like, ugh, where's the return receipt? Right? Because I used to be really sensitive and I really hated feedback because I used to get it from people who weren't so tactful in their feedback. Let's just leave it that way. And so I kind of had this almost like sensitivity towards feedback because I would feel like it was an attack at me. But I want to encourage you that if there is feedback there and you are being given it in an annual review, it's there for a gift. It's there for you to take on that opportunity to grow. It's also why if you're getting feedback and not getting some of that accolades, right? If you have had a really good year and you have achieved your goals, you need to come prepared with the data, right? I have heard of, and it's not impossible, that your manager's coming in and just, hey, here are the things you need to grow on. Well, hey, I agree. I do have areas to improve on, right? Using the feeling or the felt or found, like I understand why that felt like a setback. I felt challenged by it too, but here's what I found works to address it. Here's what I found that works in these situations. I'd like us to come up with a solution where we can both get on the same page to move forward with that situation. However, I'd also like to talk about some wins that we've had this year. Having that data to back it up will also help you when you come with that growth mindset. We talked about growth mindset a couple of weeks ago, right? About how you can accept that feedback and also couple it with, hey, I'm not just someone who needs to grow and is only here to set back the team. Yeah, I am a multifaceted person. I can have ways to grow, but also I can win, right? And that's going to be true of every single person watching this video, and me too, right? I have amazing ways in which I've won and accomplished great things, but I'm still a human and I'm still growing too, and I welcome feedback as well from my team. It's just something that I want to encourage you to, because that's most likely a natural part. And if you are looking to advance your career, I would encourage you to ask for feedback, right? Maybe you start out with your self-assessment and you say, hey, here are all the ways that I've grown and I'm really proud of how we can really achieve all this stuff with my team. And in fact, I'd love to ask you, what can we do in order for me to reach that role that we've been talking about? And so that we can get to a point where I'm feeling financially fulfilled. Also, I'd love to hear from you. What are some pieces of feedback so that I can continue to grow on this trajectory where I'm continuing to accomplish at this level in that new role, right? Not only are you just saying, I need this role, here's what I've done, but it's, hey, here's what I've done. I need this role so that I can continue to do this. And also, I'm hungry. I'm hungry to learn and grow and perform for this team, right? So as we wrap up, remember that your performance review is more than just a formality. It's a powerful tool to advance your career, right? It's a great conversation where you get to talk honestly, directly about the ways that you've contributed not just to your role, but to your team and to the company as a whole, and to ask for that critical feedback so that you can continue to grow, whether it's at your company or a new company. It lets you really shine in your achievement and set the narrative for your career journey, highlighting your successes, aligning them to the company goals, and showcasing your role's evolution. It's a fantastic opportunity to do that. It's also your conversation. It's a two-way street conversation. Use feedback to propel you in your development, and I encourage you to have a genuinely honest conversation with your manager so that you can help advance your career in the way that you want to go. I appreciate you checking in on the Optimized Career Solutions YouTube channel. We drop a new video every Thursday. I highly recommend that you subscribe to our channel because we're going to be talking about ways to advance your career all month. I also highly recommend you checking out last month's videos where we talk about all incredible mindset hacks and tricks that we have learned to grow our careers and our clients' careers as well. I highly recommend them. There's some really good ones in there as well. Definitely make sure to check them out. Stay subscribed. Comment below what maybe you're concerned about with your performance review. I'd love to come back and check it out. And I will see you next week. Have a good one.